Casual Gamer Oz here on F1 2017 Career Mode Season 8. We're at round 17, Circuit of the Americas in the USA. Let's go straight into qualifying now. Never actually gotten pole here, interestingly enough, although we did win for the very first time here last season. So, it's a circuit that I like, circuit I enjoy. Can we get our very first pole position here? We haven't had pole position, of course, since the British Grand Prix, so we're on a bit of a pole drought. And our 9-race winning streak that we had enjoyed this season came to an abrupt end in Japan. We were on for a very good result there in Suzuka, actually. We were in 5th place until I binned myself in the chasing down of Daniel Ricciardo for 4th. But given that we were 2.5 wins clear at the top of the field in the championship, didn't affect our championship really that much. Anything really cost us some R&D points. We're number 1 driver at Ferrari. We're not looking at moving on from this team, so really we didn't really care about the reputation side of things. But obviously, as I said, 2.5. We're now, well, just 2 wins, 51 points clear at the moment in this Ferrari. So we won't win it here unless Bottas, Vettel and Hamilton all take each other out in the first corner. But I want to still win this Grand Prix because I would like to be able to go into Mexico 2 wins clear. So that way, all I have to do is win the Grand Prix, and then our 200th Grand Prix here on Casual Gamer Oz, we can win our 2nd World Championship and our first for Ferrari. It will be fitting, and I think that it would be a perfect way to achieve that. So we're going to get a good qualifying position here. They want us in the top 2. We're hovering around for pole. I think we're just going to miss out on pole, unfortunately, but we can try and push our way at least into the top 2, perhaps. So we come into the final corner. We're still hovering onto pole. We're still hovering onto it. Can we do it? We do, yes! First ever pole in the Circuit of the Americas. Our first pole since Britain. And we will take that. Very satisfied with that. Let's move straight into it. And, yeah, we'll look for back-to-back wins here at the Circuit of the Americas. And really basically give ourselves the perfect position with 3 rounds remaining in this championship. It's ours to lose here. Just like last year was the opposite. It was ours really to kind of push for it. We stretched it into the last race, of course. But we weren't able to do it. We weren't able to defend our championship this time around. Only get the 75 points there. God, we want more than that. Yep. Dry race. Okay. Let's do this, America. Epic turn 1, of course. Love turn 1 in this Grand Prix. And we prep ourselves ready to go ski for this Grand Prix. So please wait. We're waiting very patiently right now for this. Cool. 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 This will be our 13th win of the season if we can knock it off. Jeff, what are you saying to me? Thanks, Mum. Alright, let's do this. Outside line. We won't even put it into rich mode. We're just going to keep it in standard. And we're action in America. Hamilton's going to take the lead. And we're going to move across here ever so slightly to cut across him to retake the lead into turn 1. Thank you very much, Lewis. Whoa, you're going to come back at me there, are you, bro? Well, we'll just out-drag you because that's what we do in a Ferrari. Because our car is faster than yours. It was interesting, actually, I forgot to mention in qualifying, Jeff came up to me. Not Jeff, I keep calling him Jeff. Chris came up to me at the beginning of this the weekend and was like, hey, great news. Our upgrade pace is bloody fantastic. We should have some great pace. And it's like, yeah, we've only been winning basically every Grand Prix this year. And now you're telling me this? Thank you very much, Captain Obvious, Christopher. Anyway, just thought I'd share that little moment with you. Anyway, yes. All right. So, right now it's ours to lose. So we lead this one once again. We are record equaling 13th career victory in a season. And with 3 rounds to go after this, we can set a new benchmark for most Grand Prix wins in a season. Of course, we have won 12 out of the 16 Grand Prix. Only 4 races we haven't won this year. And 2 of those we probably should have won. Spain, I mean, we didn't get pole there. But it's a race we'd won previously. We were taken out in the first corner. And, of course, China, we just had a dog of a race after we failed our attempt at a chop. So, yeah, there's those two little blights on our marker. Monaco, we obviously qualified dead last as we always do, but outperformed ourselves. We went 11th, nearly got a point, a legitimate point in Monaco. And then obviously Japan, wet qualifying kind of hampered us, in able to get a decent grid position. But we fought our way up to 5th and looked like we could at least get 4th for a mistake by myself. Spun me out, crashed into a wall. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at in terms of this season. Every other race, we've won. So Abu Dhabi is going to be a big one because we should have clinched a championship by then. But Abu Dhabi, of course, the only remaining Grand Prix on this game that we've never won. At least that you've never seen me win. I've obviously, again, won there in the past. So then in our last 2 full seasons here on Casual Gamer Oz and F1 2017, we can strive to win Monaco and Japan legitimately. But Japan, I reckon we could. Monaco, I reckon we couldn't. So we'll try though. Anyway, we are just going to keep ourselves occupied at the front of this race. And we have a 1.1 second gap over Lewis. Of course, Seb is our was in second place, so we're 51 points clear of Seb. So if things were to finish right now, we'd move to 61 points clear of Seb with 3 rounds remaining. Which means that all we have to do is finish ahead of him in the last Grand Prix of the, well, the next Grand Prix. We're world champions. And the constructors as well, looking likely it will be ours as well. It'll be a minor miracle for that to happen. Maybe I can just take Seb out deliberately in the last few races to allow Mercedes to win it, but we wouldn't want that. Why would we want that? Anyway, we start lap 3, which means DRS is now enabled. So Lewis wants to continue to sniff around my rectum. Good for you, Lewis. I'll put a rosebud in there for you. And we're just going to MOW through here, make own way. Obviously, sometimes it's always important to try and get a, well, I was going to say a 2-second lead in case we get any unwanted penalties. Let's whack her up to rich mode here because we haven't actually been in rich mode at any point in this circuit. This race, I should say. Particularly down this area now, entering the DRS zone, so we can pull away from him by more than a second. So we can say, Lewis, you ain't coming near me. Which really doesn't seem to help because he's still snuffing around me as I set the fastest middle sector. He's 7 tenths behind me right now, actually. So the pace of the Mercedes fairly decent around the Circuit of the Americas currently. Whoa, as I get a big slide coming out of the corner. Oh, you're acting like this is all but in the bag, Ben. Well, it is until you make mistakes like that. So you got to be wary of yourself, Benjamin. Because you, at the moment, are skating on thin ice, my friend. Skating on very thin ice. Vettel takes my fastest lap away from me, you little bastard. To that, Australia says no. And we will continue to push ourselves through here. To Mexico next, one of my favourite circuits. And of course, if we win in Mexico, that'll be the very first time we have won 4 of the same Grand Prix in a row. So a lot of interesting things to come from Mexico should we hold on for this win. A win will win us the championship. It's our 200th Grand Prix. It'll be our 4th consecutive Mexican Grand Prix and the most wins ever in a season in the history of Formula 1. So there's a few little tidbits for you. Got to hold on to this victory first though. Here in the US. Again, not quite over yet. No slide coming out of it that time around. So we set the fastest middle sector of anyone. 7 tenths up to be precise. We want our fastest lap back from our teammate. We're that competitive. We get another big slide coming out of that one, and we get into this fasting right-hander. It kind of never ends until it does, and then you got to brake heavily. Get back on the throttle quickly again for a short little burst before braking hard into the final corner, which is a lot tighter than you think it is. Get a bit of curb, come down the main straight, and set the fastest lap. Boom, shakalaka. Final lap here at the Circuit of the Americas to get back on the winner's rostrum after our failure in Japan. 10 out of the last 11 Grand Prix we would have won. And as I said to you, in Japan, we can of course afford to drop 1 or 2. We technically can afford to drop 2, so we are still 2 wins clear, but I also said I wanted to win by at least a Grand Prix, given that we had that little sneaky in Azerbaijan where I may or may not have used a flashback. Shh, don't tell anyone, as I lose concentration there. We've avenged for the wins that we didn't get last year, though we also didn't get a couple that we should have, but that's not taking away from what we've done so far this season, because we are going to find ourselves in a position where we are going to be pretty much unassailable in our lead for the World Championship. We'll be once again 2.5 wins clear essentially with only 3 rounds remaining. It'll take an absolute miracle for one of these drivers behind me to win the championship, to claim back what I won in Season 5. We're in Season 7 now, our first for Ferrari. So we come into the final corner and we find ourselves equaling the record for most Grand Prix wins in a single season, our 13th of the season.
Great drive. We did it. Good job.
Our first pole to win victory since the British Grand Prix. And there we go. That is how you do it. This is how we do it. Yeah, don't sing, Ben. Alrighty. Maurizio's happy. I'm happy. And as you will see here, 61 points clear. So officially, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas can no longer win the World Championship. It's 150% between myself and Seb Vettel. We've all but locked in the constructors. So the championship fight is between me and Seb. 3 rounds remaining. I finish ahead of Seb. He's got to outscore me by 11 points. 11 points. It's our 200th Grand Prix next race, combining our F1 2016 and F1 2017 games. And of course, our 100th Grand Prix back in Season 3, that was our last retirement for a very long time. Should hopefully cross that 1600 point threshold. I'd say in Brazil. Yep. Cool. Alright. Let's move on to Mexico. Remember to like, subscribe and comment. Thank you for tuning in to Casual Gamer Oz. I'll speak to you in Mexico City. Good night.